Okay, so what I've got here is a Spectrum that I picked up off of a Facebook group. Someone posted to say they had the Spectrum, they were going to get rid of it. If anyone wanted it, chuck them postage and you can have it. So I did just that. This arrived exactly as you see it, dust and all. It is a bit there at the moment. I haven't actually had a look inside it yet, so it'll be interesting to see why this apparently doesn't work. Looking at the state of it, not sure, looks like it's been stored for a while, but I guess the only way to find out is actually look inside and see what we see. So, let's get some screws out. If I can undo them, which I can't because they're quite tight. So, screws are out. Let's have a look inside and see what is going on. So obviously be very careful when you take the lid off because there is a membrane connector for the keyboard. Oh, okay. Oops, not quite sure if you can see that. Oh, okay, well that's not going to work again then. Oh, that's going to need replacing. So let's just pop that out. Yeah, definitely not going to work again. Actually, that keyboard is actually not bad, even though it's really disgustingly dirty. And does look like someone has drawn around some of these letters in what I think is pen. It's slightly purple, not quite sure how well that comes out on the camera. But all around these keys there is what looks like purple or blue ink from a pen. Hopefully that should clean up quite well. But actually the keyboard's alright. Paint's intact, label's intact. No big chips or dings in the top, so apart from a keyboard membrane, that probably will be okay. Let me just get out of the way. As for the motherboard, okay, well straight away I can see something that's not quite right. I don't know how well this is going to come out, but if you can see that capacitor there, my pointy thing, it not looking very well. It looks like it's blown its arse out. So I'm guessing if that one's done it, God knows what it's done to the rest of the board, but it's definitely going to need a recap. So I think before I do anything else, and I'm definitely obviously not going to put power to this at the moment, I'm going to probably put some new capacitors there and see what happens. So just so you can see exactly what that looks like, just taking the camera off the tripod, and you can see that capacitor is absolutely toast. That will probably explain why the guy said this thing didn't work, apart from obviously the keyboard membrane not working. The rest of the board doesn't look too bad. Obviously until we swap those capacitors out, we won't know if there's anything else wrong with it, but I shall go and do that and see what we can do. So just taking a closer look at this board, I just noticed that this is the soldering on the underside of the power connector, and that is pretty atrocious. I don't know if someone's been working on this board in the past or that is how it came from the factory, but that is pretty horrible. So that's definitely going to have to be addressed as well. And I think there's a few other solder joints on the board that I spotted here, which I think is the some of the audio jacks. Looks like, again, I don't know whether someone's had a go at that or whether that's how it came from the factory, but that is pretty crusty and that's certainly going to need some attention as well. I know there's people out there who collect the serial numbers, so for you guys, there you go. By the magic of time travel and the wonders of the internet, here we are a few days later and these have arrived. This is a set of capacitors from Retrolium, link is in the thing down below. Really reasonably priced, and they also give you the transistor and the capacitor if you want to do the composite module yourself, which to be honest I may as well do as I've got the board open. So I guess the next thing to do is to get those yucky capacitors off and start with these lovely fresh ones in. Okay, stating the bleeding obvious time again, but it's worth saying, if you're going to take something apart, get something to put your screws in, because trust me, they are so easy to lose, and the last thing you want is a loose screw. So here's the board as it is at the moment. The old capacitors have been taken out, as you can see, and that one there was the one that was really dodgy. It doesn't look as actually leaked, but the end is definitely bulging out of it, so it was definitely the right time to replace it. The new capacitors have been put into the board, but they're not actually soldered in at the moment. I'm just going through the process of making sure that I've got the polarities right, make sure the right values, making sure all the legs are actually in the right places. So hopefully once I've finished all that, which will be in a few minutes, I shall go ahead and solder this in, and then we should be ready to give it some power to see, well, what happens. So there's the board as is now, all soldered in and ready to go. Oh, and yeah, the power connector. I had a little go at reflowing the solder, but I think because it was just really old crappy solder, it just would not take. So in the end I had to take the entire connector out, clean up all the contacts, clean up the board, put it back in again, put some fresh solder in there, and now it's certainly better than what it was. It's still not as nice as I'd like it, but at least it doesn't look like it's got dry joints anymore. The capacitors are now soldered in place, so in theory I could give this power, but to be honest I'm not going to. I don't trust some of the components on this board because obviously I haven't given this power, I haven't a chance to measure the voltages, but TR4, which is just here, that is notorious for failing, and if that fails it can cause all sorts of power problems and potentially kill the lower bank of RAM here. So I'm going to test it, I'm going to make sure, well, see what state it's in, but even if it's good I might just replace it because I have some brand new transistors that I've ordered, so they are here. That one is a ZTX 650 I think it is. They're very hard to get hold of these days, but these are ZTX 651s which are direct replacement. These have come from Petroleum as well. I'll put a link down below in the information. But I think before I do anything else, that's going to get changed. I'll test the old one to see if it actually was working or not, and hopefully we should be in a position to give it some power, test some voltages and see if it actually works. So the deed is done. The transistor's been swapped, and surprisingly enough it was indeed faulty. Just did a bit of measurement on the multimeter and it was showing as open circuit, which is definitely not right. So swapping that over to the new one, which is now in place just down there. This one just here, where my finger's gone, just there. That's now been replaced. So I guess it is the moment of truth. Not much more I can really do here. TV's on, I have power, so let's give it a go and see what happens. And we have life. It works. Ignore the flickering. That's just my. That's just the camera and the TV because it's an old CRT. But we have 1982 Sinclair research. It works. Obviously, I don't have a keyboard membrane plugged into this at the moment, so I'm assuming the keyboard's going to work okay. I can't see why it shouldn't if I put a proper membrane on there. I need to go and find one from somewhere actually and give it a go. But let's just try the reset, see what happens. Yep, it's quite happy. So I am going to let that sit there for half an hour or so, just on power, just to make sure all is okay. But I would say that is a pretty good result for a Spectrum that cost me, well, postage really. So that's the end of this part. Next time we'll try and clean up the case, get the keys working, do the membrane swap, put the two halves back together, and hopefully I should have a very nice working Sinclair Spectrum Plus at the end of it. Cheers guys!